So that is a fantastic start. Right, hello. You should be able to hear me now. Last minute hiccups and absolutely no possibility of any sound through my headset. Right, yes. So Smiley, thank you very much for the sound check. I was just sorting myself out. I've had a few issues, mainly down to the fact that I was working until too late. And I'm just in the process of trying to correct everything to hopefully give yourselves a decent experience. So you should now be able to see cars. You should now actually be able to hear me. You should also be able to hear cars, which is all you could really ask for in an evening. But I am the Pink Pig, aka James. I'll be joined by Ryan, who I think is going out for a cigarette at the moment. And we are here for PureSimGear GT3 Friday here at Donington Park in round 5 of the championship. And what an exciting prospect that intends to be. I've raced here last night in the Audi and it was great fun. An FRL favourite. It's when we have our annual meeting every year, or the last 2 years, where members of the league join to sit in a field somewhere, have a couple of beers and watch some fast cars go round in circles. So, and to continue with the sponsorship theme, Chris, if you notice the QR code on the right hand side, scan that with your phone and please subscribe to the Sim Staff newsletter, and of course it's brought to you by PureSimGear, and great place for stocks and gloves. If I sound a bit disorientated, like I said, I am. But let's have a catch up on the stand-ins ahead of tonight's race. So here is our pro stand-ins. So pros and AMs are all bunched in together tonight. So we've got Mattia Nachira currently at the top of the tree on 159 points. Milan Danovic in second on 142. Rock Cop, so I've just seen his new livery being supplied to him by Keddy as for his New Year win at Mazzano on 128 points. Melka Garbi on 127 points and Edo Cops on 118 points. James Perry missed last time out but has managed 3 podiums in 4 races, so excited to see what he can manage. And then we got Koderman, Amir, Velazzi and Terence Keenan in P10. For our AMs, hello Ryan.
Hello.
Hello. We have a little code, so when we know Ryan's back, he coughs, and then I know to say hello to him. So just going through the stand-ins for the AMs. So we got Nick the Stick, winner last time out, in P1 with 146 points. Ryan Blanchett in second on 143 points, so only 3 points behind. Christian Burton-Sello, who has had mixed events but has still performed quite well on 141 points. Tudor in P4, Mark Vilhine aka the Playboy in P5, Jerome Macuna missed last time out in P6, James Magasdale, who's just mainly been consistent, in P7, Barry Gibbons in 8th, Derek the Bro in P9 and Giorgio Borgio in P10. So that's what you hopefully all caught up with the stand-ins. Are you actually? Yes, you're using your disorientated drone cam once again. So we have 10 minutes of AM qualifying, followed by 10 minutes of pro qualifying. Then we get into the race, where it's an hour long, where there's a mandatory pit stop for tyres only. So you're not allowed to refuel. You're basically stuck with the fuel which you start the race with. So advisable to chuck a full race worth of fuel. Oh, how are you, Ryan?
I am not bad.
If I sound different, it's because I'm on my works headset. One of the issues I was encountering just before the race was my headset died, so I'm on my works headset instead.
Yeah, I charge mine before I go to bed, so it's fully charged.
Well, I charge mine every couple of days. And I remember being sat there this morning thinking, I need to hard charge my headset. And then work got its way and took me away, and just looking at my work email, and I have to change a file from Excel to CSV, and then I can start my loading process.
We're missing a livery.
Yes, Dries Veerhurst.
Dunno, McLaren?
I'm not sure what car he's in. Yes. Have you got a... so car number 6. I don't have a...
I don't have my... Oh, Barry Gibbons is on the wall.
Well, that's
Oh, Mr. Gedman running his new livery.
yeah, it looks very, very nice. So one of the patron perks you can get is a Keddy design livery, and he in fairness, he goes all out. He's doing me a Mercedes one for next season, which is quite nice.
Yeah, no, I knew that it was coming, because I was originally meant to design it.
What, mine?
No, Mr. Gedman's.
Oh, right, okay.
And then it was going. I said, "Do you want it to like go from like his colour to black, and then black to green?" And he was like, "No." And then Katie does it, and that's what he's got, which is what I was going to do. So, yeah, it was. He paid for the Patreon, so that was his excuse, I think.
So in terms of the racing, Christian Bertoncello's currently popped himself in P1 with a 1:26.8. Nick the Sticks in P2 with a 27.3. Brizzle is in P3 with a 27.4. Then we got Dononso in P4. Sven Corving in P5. Is our early runners and riders. We still got just over 3 minutes left of qualifying for anyone to beat Christian Bertoncello's time, but that 1:26 looks rather formidable in the AMS as he goes slidey through the hairpin. That's definitely going to be an invalid lap. Yeah, some of the times that the AMS were popping out last night in the rookies was a bit insane, so let's see what...
Let's stick up there again.
Yeah, he's found some pace. Not that he was slow before, but he's definitely getting quicker. Kasrasanovic currently in P10, just coming up to the second to last hairpin. Currently 6 tenths, 5 tenths up on his time. So potentially a decent improvement for him. His time is jumping around all over the place, so I definitely think he's got some more room for improvement. Smiley said he bottled qualifying. I think you were quite high yesterday, weren't you? But Kasrasanovic jumps up into P8. Christian Bertoncello is going fastest through the first sector. Nick the Stick has just invalidated. Next to really improve is James Smaggersgale, as we can see on our screens at the moment. Currently 8 tenths up on his time. That'll pop him into 28.7, so just in line with Derek Bruh.
Mr. Alan Brown, Mr. Brizzle, just improved his lap time, but didn't move any places.
No, he's brought in a bit closer, but that time of 5 tenths between Bertoncello and Nick the Stick is quite a chasmous gap at the moment, isn't it? James Smaggersdale crosses the line and moves up to P14. Mr. Floppy Fox, evening. Hope the cat is well. And yes, it should be fun tonight. Well, we hope so anyway. Dries Veerhurst, have you got a livery for car number 6?
No.
Right, okay, that's alright then.
I think mine with 15 minutes to go, so...
I did mine with 15 minutes to go, because I just came in from eating my food and then jumped straight in here. So Dries Veerhurst crosses the line with no improvement there. Edgardo Donoso currently in P5, couple of tenths up on his lap. He has the potential to go P2 if he manages to nail the next 2 corners from Chile. So FRL, the League of the Nations, including South America by the looks of things, which is nice. Who else is improvement on their time? So these will be potentially the last laps of these drivers. 15 seconds left for them.
Brizzle improved slightly again, but not enough to go ahead and nick the stick.
Have you just seen all the cars coming, lining up in the pit lane?
Okay. Hop in the queue, one of them.
So there is quite a few. So the cat is good. Asleep on the bed, so hopefully no catastrophe. So that's good news.
I do love Sergio's cut livery.
I think that was a Keddy one as well. So
Good.
let's have a look. Who is improving? Who is up on their time? Christopher Gedman currently in P14, going through the final corner. Has a potential to improve. This will be his last attempt. He stays in 14th with no improvement. Well, he set a better time, but no position or improvement, and everyone else is currently down. Sven Corving potentially has an opportunity going through the final corners to jump up. No, it's Sergio. He's pretty good at them. OCD of an architect. Sorry, yes, Sergio's is Sergio's livery, and he is an architect by trade, so that explains why probably everything is lined up with a ruler.
Yes, and that's my issue. I can't do that.
I have absolutely no attention to detail. I'm just happy that people do them for me. So
Bristol didn't improve.
So Derek Bruh improves slightly, but he doesn't move any position, so he stays P11. Brizzle is going round again, so I assume he's going to pull over well, he's 8/10 down on his lap time at the moment, so he's definitely not improvement, but he shouldn't be out on the track either. And this time we do have his livery up.
Oh, we've had another one join, number 444.
444. That is Mr. Kustov. He came through the pack last night, and well, he was. I could see him for a little bit, and then he just kind of disappeared. He never ever qualifies, but nobody has ever asked him why.
I think it's just like you like to have a bit of fun if you start from the back.
Yeah, I can understand the bit of fun, but he can get himself caught up in a bit of a melee with a couple of drivers.
I think it's different if you're doing pros to AMs. Because the AMs are usually slightly slower than the pros. So if you're an AM, then you can get away with not qualifying, whereas where if you're pro, you can't. That's one thing that I found. I mean, when I first started, I was sort of like mid of AMs, or mid to high AM, and I was crossing a lot of the pro drivers, and it's just that slight variation of where there's speed and there's not.
So the pros are now starting to put their laps in. So Koderman's currently jumped up into P2. Chris Schneider's in 3. Brizzle is now in the pits. Amia's gone into P8. But Christian Bertoncello hasn't yet to been displaced, although Mattia Nachira's just popped in a 27.282 to start the displacement, and then the Irish Potato, who was the lap record holder prior to Tuesday's event, where Mr. Nopek displaced him, also pops in a pretty competitive time of a 26.567. In terms of that lap record, I've probably got... No, I actually don't have the dashboard open. That's unusual for me. So it would be nice if someone can check on what Mr. Nopek's... I think it was a 25.8 or 25.7 that Thomas popped in the other night. You're watching someone have an issue.
That was Mr. Koderman. Spun British King.
So Mattia Nachira's just given someone the flashing lights in front of him. He was improving, but has since had to slow down, although he is still going quicker as he's just gone through the chicane. This could potentially bring him closer to the 25s. Rock Cops is also improving.
FX there he is.
So Rock Cops pops himself into P2. Mattia Nachira going through the final corner. He has a little bit of a slipstream from the BMW in front. Is this going to be an improvement? It is, but still 126.152. I'm expecting Mattia to potentially break the 25s Marco Keddy is flying, or was flying, but seems to have lost a bit of time through the chicane. He's currently 0.6 of a second up, going through the final hairpin down onto the start-finish straight. Brizzle, hello everyone, and good luck for tonight. Yes, good luck for you indeed. You've got a little bit of extra practice in there before the end of it. Marco Keddy went P3 and is then displaced down to P4 with James Perry, who goes into P2 with a 26.232. Track temperature and air temperature is 14 degrees, so it is pretty chilly, and especially given that it's Donington Park in February, it's not actually that cold. Could be worse. And anyone else improving? Let's have a look. Demokos Kish is currently up, and Mr. Floppy Fox is also up on his time. But Mr. Kish is just about to come across the line, currently in P14. Any improvement from Demokos? He does indeed. He goes into P9. Next to cross the line out of this bunch, well, we've got Melka Garby, who will probably be expecting to improve. Currently P11. We've got just under 4 minutes left to qualifying. So last night, so Goodway's in P6. Yes, Goodway is in P6. He has found some pretty decent pace, Mr. Crazy's, over the last couple of weeks. Melka Garby improves his time, but doesn't improve his position. In fact, he's been dropped down to P11, and that's with a time of a 27.0. So that's going to pop him in mid-pack, which is probably where he doesn't want to be. Anyone else up on their times? Uwe Vazi, just about to cross the line, goes into P22 from 27. So that's not a bad improvement by him. Hopefully he's going to break it. He'll be hoping he can break into the top 20s. Interestingly, Christian Bertincello, who was P1 in the AMS, is in P9. Alex Zakdel is up on his time, but he's only in P6. Alex is improving slightly as he comes into the middle sector of the track down towards the hairpin. Obviously, with it being an hour-long race here at Donington Park, it's going to be a fun one for track limits. What's your feelings at Donny and track limits?
I mean, when we done the I think it was the Christmas event where it was the multi-class. I think I scraped away with not getting a drive-through. I think it's easier in a slower car, but when it's in a faster car, it's slightly harder. And it's mainly just that one corner of the chicane.
Yeah.
That you'll end up getting the track warnings, because everyone likes to hit the tyre barriers, which
everyone likes to hit the tyre barriers, and I also find it might just be a me personally kind of thing, but I also like to get punches up on this track.
Oh yeah. That is another thing.
Yeah, I drove the Mighty Jeanette event well before Christmas, and I had 3 punches in one stint.
I'm just looking at Mr. Garby, who's just come out the pit lane with 1 minute and 33 to go. So he has got to push this lap to get another lap before the end of qualifying.
That screams I haven't got something right in my setup and I've just had to tweak it. It could be tyre pressures, could be anything.
He is half a second down. That is
unusual.
Different for Mr. Melka Garby.
Yes, absolutely. So Koderman's up on his lap at the moment, just going through the final hairpin. He's going to put the power down, see if he can improve from this 127 at the moment. He does indeed. He goes up all the way up to P6. Keddy's done for his racing or his qualifying. We've got Mattia Nichira and Alex Zakdal going in tandem across the line. Nichira does finally go into the 25, so 25.977. Terence Keenan is still going around the track, so he may be able to put in a challenge for him. Let's just hope his internet holds out for at least the first lap this time. Who else have we got to play with? Anyone close to completing a lap? Oliver Ewig, currently in P23. goes up to P19, displacing Milan Danovic, who's currently second in the championship, so he'll be hoping for a better qualifying than where he currently is, which is 20th. Well, he's not going to improve because that was his last qualifying lap. Terence Keenan's invalidated his. James Perry needs 0.3 of a second to get close to Nachira. Nachira is currently 1/10 of a second down on his best lap. David Goodway's up on his lap as well, so worth keeping an eye on them. So James Perry going through the second to last corner. Lovely little sunflower on his side pod. So James Perry, is he going to improve? Is this going to make a dent in Nachira's dominance? It is indeed, with a 25.905. Mattia Nachira does a 26.2. So no improvement from him. David Goodway just coming across the line, and he has gone P7. Melker Garby not up on his time, but he has managed to get another lap. Did he make a mistake somewhere in the final sector, which he's going to dramatically improve on now? It doesn't look as though he is. I think this might be his qualifying over. And it is no improvement. He stays in P9. Anyone else which we can play with? Nope, everyone has done their qualifying. So Garby just stops on the racing line, which is interesting tactic. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of qualifying. It felt a lot quicker than 20 minutes. We will have a quick walk through the grid once my screen decides to change over. Ryan's going frantically from back to front on his little screen at the moment.
Back to front.
Yes, it will be in a minute. I'm just waiting for my screen to click over from. It's not letting me go to not let me click drive. Interestingly enough. So okay, we'll do it. We'll do it this way. So back to front. While the game sorts itself out. Sheffield Boy is indeed in the house. So Artem Kuzadov with Valentino Rossi liveried 444 in 36. Then we've got Christian Wiegel, Giorgio Biggio, Christopher Gedman, James Smagersgale, Barry Gibbons in P31, Derek Brown in P30, Tudor in P29. Armin Kasrasanovic in 28th, Mark GG in 27th, Blanchett in 26th, Verhurst in 25th, Sven Corving in 24th, Donoso in 23rd, Fresh Brizzle in 22nd. Nick the Stick in 21st, Mattia Milandanovic second in the championship in 20th, Oliver Ewig in 19th, Uwe Vazi in 18th, Sergio Osario in 17th, Edu Kops in 16th, Domokos Kish in 15th, Amir Kasras Tarash in 14th, Daniel Krishnaider in 13th, Simon Trabosic in 12th, Christian Burton-Sello currently pole for the AMS in P11. Floppy Fox is in 10th. Melker Garby is in 9th. Marjan Kodaman in 8th. David Goodway with a strong qualifying performance in P7. Cops wins the battle. Rock Cops wins the battle of the Copses in P6. And Marco Keddy in P5. Alex Zachdel in P4 shares the same row as his teammate from ERS, Terence Keenan. Mattia Nachira in P2. With James Perry making his return all the way at the front in P1. And that is our grid. I can't still click on drive, which is very, very frustrating. Hopefully nobody's saying nothing nasty in the chat.
30 seconds.
We got 30 seconds until the formation back begins. So Smiley and Mr. Lock and Load are having a little bit of a chat. Williams, a Sheffield boy that lives in Wales. Me, a Welsh boy that lives in Sheffield. I am actually Welsh, and I live in my home city, not Sheffield. Nothing against Sheffield. No! I tell you what is bad.
My drone control.
Well, yes, that is bad, but I've also left my juice in the house. So as the drivers pull away, I'm going to run quickly into the house and get my juice. So back in a moment. So, hello, welcome back.
A very quick, brisk run.
It's literally in the kitchen. It's just my vape juice.
Ah. When you said your juice, I was like, is he drinking blackcurrant?
No, it is. It's what is it? It's the black, which is berries, blackcurrant, and menthol.
I can't find my vape juice. Don't know where it is. I think it might be in my car.
Well, I've got two unopened ones by the monitor monitor 2, and I've got my 3/4 full one, which I'm using now. But it's not orange juice, and I'm more of a Ribena or a Vimto fan, if you really want to know.
I don't know where it is. I had this bottle, and it's all like named after Greek gods.
Yes, Zeus juice.
Yeah, Zeus juice.
That's what I use. It's fantastic stuff.
Mine's the wild forest or something like that.
No, I use.
It's the wild forest flavour, but it's got like kind of like Hades or something like that.
Yeah, I have the black ice or Dimpleberry.
Oh wait, I think I got Dimpleberry.
So I alternate between the black ice and Dimpleberry, so I can taste the flavour.
Taste the flavour.
Yeah, you're doing some wonderful advertisement for jewelries there at the final hairpin. So
I don't think.
So
looking at that hairpin. It's not really a hairpin. It's a double corner.
it is. If you can nail it, it's lovely, but I can't. So drivers are just approaching the double corner slash hairpin. James Parry leads Mattia Nachira going into the start-finish straight. Drivers are being requested to drive at 45 miles per hour as they go on their marks. They're going to get set and they're going to go! I can never get that right. So James Parry pulls into the front of Mattia Nachira. Mattia Nachira brakes, just avoids contact with James Parry. Terence Keenan is behind. Zachtel has a little bit of an issue, but there looks to be some contact with Coderman possibly. But we're on board with James Parry going through the sector 1. What is it looking like in the middle to back of the pack? Is it all looking pretty clean at the moment?
Yeah, it seems pretty clean. A few cars going 3 wide, 2 wide. As Derek Bruh was off track, he was doing some rallycross, so he's back on track in front with Chris Gentleman, as he nearly kills Mr. Chris Gentleman.
Yeah, I just saw it in the corner of my eye and just saw Derek darting across the track, potentially unsafe re-entry. But James Parry currently.
Oh no! Ryan Blanchett's off.
No, that's second in the championship. Ryan Blanchett has gone off the track. James Parry currently leads Mattia Nachira, leads Terence Keenan, leads Alex Zachtel. Zachtel and Keenan are chasing each other, heading down towards the hairpin.
It seems pretty clean through the chicane.
Yeah, it's just the point where everyone gets their different braking zones, isn't it? And that's where.
Yeah. Oh, Domokos Kish has been spun. Oh, there's 3-4 cars spun.
So I got a little bit of contact with Matija Milandanovic. I'm not quite sure what happened, but James Parry currently leads the way. You've got Mark GG, Smaggersgale and Veerhurst also involved in that contact. Looking for who the main casualty of that, but it looks as though you were right. It's Domokos Kish currently in P33.
No, the biggest loss on that was Mr. Copes, Edo Copes.
Where? Oh yes, Christ, he is P35. So potentially it's just a bit of a butterfly effect. So he potentially had an issue, and then everyone else came off the track. Nick the Stick and Sven Corbing are exchanging places. Nick the Stick currently in P21 as a bollard is being taken as a casualty. So Nick the Stick in P21 is not first in the AMS. He is currently fifth. Yeah, Burton Sello is first in the AMS. He's right behind. He's being challenged by Amir directly behind in P13.
But Mr. Fresh Brizzle is second in the AMS.
He is indeed. So let's hope he can last longer the race. So Keddy's managed to get past Zachtel, and also Rock Cops has got past him as well. So that's a good move. And Terence Keenan's putting some big pressure on Mattia Nachira as James Perry in the Porsche is disappearing into the distance with a 27.0 for his lap, for his second lap. Derek raced here last night in the rookies, and he struggled with his fuel calculation. So hopefully he'll be all right on the night.
Gusoff is spun into the braking zone, and he is left to servo.
Ah. So he didn't do qualifying. He did 2 laps and he's disappeared.
He just, I don't know what happened. He just braked and he just spun.
So Floppy Fox is.
Oh no! Copes has spun as well at turn 1.
Spun or any bumpage or? Well, that's not going to help him, is it? Driving into the wall. He's just going into the pits by the looks of things. But James Perry
He's qualified for that as well.
Hmm?
He has been disqualified for doing that as well.
Oh right, okay. So Nick the Stick is currently leading Mark, GG, James Magersgale and Dries Verhurst as they're filing through Donington Park as they approach the chicane. Oh right, so he hit the back of Domokos Kish then by the looks of things.
Off the back end, he tapped the rear end of Domokos Kish. Kish went off and he just decided to go backwards.
Melker Garby's losing some positions. He's currently in a bit of a sandwich with Trabosic and Michael Firth. Melker Garby moves back up into P10. Firth looking different angles. Burton Sallow's also in the mix of that as well. So they're all fighting out trying to get P10 as they go through into turn 1. So currently leading this train is Simon Trabosic, then Garby, then Firth, then Burton Sallow, and Amir's just going to try and catch the rear of this as well. So that is something. That's something that's. Oh no! Wait there. That's Garby. Garby had Honda problems, and Honda problems has done Honda things, and Garby is off. He just kind of had a squirrely moment. And he just lost control of the car. He fortunately hasn't hit the wall.
Big crash further back. Big crash further back.
So Garby has rejoined.
And
so I can see Dries is back down. Is down in P30. Was it Donoso as well potentially in the Mercedes?
I'm gonna grab the. Find out what happened.
So Domokos Kish has dived into the pits. Mattia Nachira is 2.3 seconds behind James Perry, who's currently in P1. Then you got Terence Keenan in Nachira in 2, Keenan in 3, Keddy in 4, and Zachtel in 5. Let's have a. Oh, he was just kind of drifting, and then
got
Ewigged,
and then
Donoso as well.
Donoso, and then Melker Garby had that incident. If I go back, we can get the replay of what happened. Lost the back end coming through the corner, then went to go back on track and lost it, and went straight across and into the wall, but didn't hit the wall.
No, that was lucky. So Smiley says that happened to me last night. Honda for life. So Milan Danovic was under pressure from Sergio Azario. Sergio Oz then went very wide at that corner and has relieved any pressure which he had on Milan Danovic. But Milan Danovic is moving his way up from P20th to currently P14. Is hunting down on P13, which is Uwe Vazi. Has gained significantly this lap alone. Is 0.3 of a second behind. Marco Keddy is right behind Terence Keenan. So potentially want to have a look at that. Was that a car off in the sides on your screen? I'm not sure who that was.
Bjorn Weigel, and I was going back because Giorgio Bergio was off track as well.
So it's a couple of drivers towards the back with
but that is some serious damage to Weigel's car.
Let's have a look at Christian and see what we can see. So he has a bit of flappy bonnet syndrome in the Lexus. 28th and 29 have made contact. Dries Verhurst and Christopher Gedman And who is that Vehicle who went off earlier? Was it? So I'm not sure why Gedman is flashing Dries Verhurst. But he's obviously unhappy with something. As he tries to go for another little move into the corner, but he's obviously unhappy about something. Nobody's quite sure what. Nick Stick is right on the back of Sven Corving. At the front of the grid, Keddy and Keenan are in very, very close proximity to each other. So they had yellow flags potentially, Verhurst and Gedman. So potentially a move. Smiley suggests. Goodway is right with Codeman. Codeman's moved up to P7. Goodway's dropped to P8. So going through the hairpin for the last corner. Codeman is now starting to pull away slightly. Keddy and Keenan are close. 3.6 seconds is the lead for James Perry. Amir and Christian Bertoncello. So Bertoncello doesn't really need to fight Amir, but I think so. Smagascale has dived into the pits as well. I'm not sure if he's had some damage. So Christian Bertoncello does indeed. Chris Schneider went past Amir. Breeze past Amir as if Amir was letting him through. So Chris Schneider's moved up to P12. He's now going to try and chase down Christian Bertoncello in front, but it looked as though Amir let him pass. Nick the Stick and Sven Corving are still very close together in 18th and 19th. In the braking zone you can see Nick the Stick gains quite a lot of distance. This is the fight for P19. So just 2 more rounds of this championship left. We're at Watkins Glen next Friday. And then final round is at Alton Park. Such a prestigious track to hold the final race of the season.
Because Mark Penny is now trying to look on...
Oh no, Floppy Fox is slow. Floppy Fox is going slow. It looks as though his car is absolutely battered. Hopefully
the cat's got involved again.
Yeah, hopefully the cat's not been involved, but Floppy Fox has some serious damage to that car. Again, not sure what happened with him and why it's in that state, but it's definitely going to need some repairs. Marco Kelly right behind Terence Keenan. This is the fight for P3. So on Tuesday night, Kelly managed 2 P3s in the sprints. So he's closing right close in on Terence. Terence internet has lasted at least 11 minutes. That's his new personal best.
And James Perry has pulled a massive gap.
Yeah, it's obviously not one of Mattia's favourite tracks by the looks of things, but James Perry's fastest lap is a 26.4. The Cheerers is a 26.8. Keddy has a little bit of a look at Terence going into the hairpin. No move made this time. Going into the final corner, you can see Zachdell just behind in P5. Then Rox Cops, then Kodeman, Milandanovic and Brown are flagging up on my screen. And Milandanovic has some serious damage to his car, and he's just pulled over to the side. He has ported to the pits. Alan Brown looks relatively unscathed.
Oh, Milandanovic has got a drive-through.
Interesting. But Donington Park's claiming quite a few casualties tonight. Barry Gibbons in P24. So we've got Firth, Milandanovic and Kish all in the pits. We've lost... What happened, Mr. Fox? Saw your car have some quite extreme damage. So Barry Gibbons, driver after 13 minutes. Yeah, what? So Milandanovic is basically sat in the pitch. He's not going to I assume he's not going to go back out again. Keddy's got a bit more of a run on Terence Keenan as they head down towards the second to last corner. Keddy has the inside line, and Keenan made contact with him. Keddy wasn't quite ready to turn in. There was contact made with the BMW, but Keddy does indeed move up to P3. He looked like he was trying to hang Terence out a little bit to stop him from being able to get the undercut. Terence looked like he tried to cut it underneath, but the space wasn't there, so contact was made between the two cars. Hopefully not too much damage caused for either car. So Mr. Fox, car in front, went wide on the exit of chicane. I went for the overtake on the inside and he lost it. Slid into me, I flew into the wall on the right. Bugger.
So, looking at the lap time of Michael Keddy to Mattia Nizgira, Keddy is faster on that last lap. So, Keddy might be looking for a second place here tonight. James Perry still sitting in the 26s.
Yeah, that pace is beyond everyone at the moment from Mr. Perry. We knew he was quick. Oh, we know he was quick. Unfortunately, he missed the last round. Otherwise, he would be right in the championship hunt. But yes, so just on board with Derek Bruh at the moment, behind Barry Gibbons. Derek's fastest lap is 5/10 quicker than Barry's. Mark GG has got a yellow flag as we just see him rejoining the circuit. Just in front of Tudor in P20th. So. Not sure if
We've lost a total of 6 drivers.
Yeah, Donington Park's claim. Oh, well, I think we've lost 4 because I think we started with 36, maybe 37 with Artem Kuzadov.
We started with 36, but Mr. Thurf and Dominic Kish have still not come back out of the pit lane.
Yeah, judging from Mr. Fox's Twitch conversation, I think. He may, I think his race is done, unless he fancies not adding to his DNF count. So Mr. Cops, Rock Cops is right behind Alex Zachdel. The Ferrari seems to be going quite strong here for Rock Cops, although Floppy Fox said he had the pace and was getting quicker, but obviously with that incident hasn't progressed well. But the Honda doesn't seem as all-powerful here at Donington Park.
I mean, there's updates and updates and updates that keep coming out, so it might seem like not like it. That's probably because they've been buffed and nerfed yet again, as we keep seeing every week.
Yeah, so there seems to be a bi-weekly update at the moment, doesn't there? So Alan Brown is, I'm not sure if he was flashing Sergio Osario, but it definitely has gotten quite close to the Porsche in the Aston Martin. So Brizzle currently is in P2. Shapes for an overtake, probably not on at that junction, and then falls back in behind Sergio. Right behind these drivers is Nick the Stick, currently in P3 as they go into the final corner. Sergio Osario places his car nicely in the middle of the road, so no pass is going to be made there.
I can see why he wants to try and get through. His last lap was a 127, and this lap, Alan Brown's done a 129.1. Sergio Osario's done a 129.1 as well.
Yeah, so
Nick's done 28.6, so there must have been some sort of issue throughout the lap to slow them, all 3 of them down, because the lap before Nick the Stick set his best lap time of 127.6.
Yeah, I think Alan knows that he has to pass Sergio to be able to continue his progression through the through the field. We got just under 3 minutes until the pit window opens. So let's wait and see what happens. If anyone decides to dive in early. Brizzle's again flashing. He was interestingly enough, he was in the chat last night moaning about people flashing him. So
I can see there's like rules, and he's going to go for the move round the outside. Sergio Osario is trying not to let him through. But it's going to hurt Alan Brizzle, as he is going to be side by side with Nick the Stick coming up to the final corner as Nick's looking down the inside now.
Yeah, and Nick sent it. Nick's gone full-blown send. They braked himself, and Brizzle's managed to get back through. So this is definitely one battle that's certainly worth keeping an eye on at the moment. Let's have a look at the gap. So Nachira's 6.7 behind. Keddy's 2.3 seconds behind Nachira. So that's not really moving at the moment. Brizzle's dropped back a little bit from Sergio after that final corner showdown with Nick the Stick. Nick the Stick runs quite wide out on the exit of the corner. I'm not sure why Christopher Gedman's showing as a yellow flag on my screen, but Blanchett is, in fairness, back out. So a minute and a half until the pit window opens.
So, just an update that we have lost Mr. Floppy Fox, or Messi Cat, as we should be calling him. He has left the server. Demokish Kiss is still sitting in the pit lane. He is 10 lap. He's 9 laps down, and I don't see him coming back out. So
yeah, Donington Park is claiming a fair few victims tonight. I think that's safe to say.
It's claimed a few more victims than the Tuesday race.
Yes. So Brizzle's still fighting, trying to get close as he can to Sergio. Sergio doesn't want to give up that position whatsoever in P14. He doesn't need to fight him, but he knows if he does lose this position from 14, he could drop straight the way down into Melker Garby's clutches pretty quickly. So it's within his interest to keep as many cars between him and Melker as possible. So going through the twisty section, the Porsche is the car at the moment, but it is Brizzle who wants to gain as much as he can when they get onto the fast bits in the Aston. The Aston does seem to have be better on the brakes. Pit window is now open, so who will be the first driver to dive into the pits? We've got Rock Cops right behind Alex Zakdel. Alex Zakdel is closing in on Terence Keenan. Terence Keenan has 2 seconds to Marco Keddy, 2.5 seconds between Keddy and Nachira, and then Nachira has 7 seconds to catch up to James Perry in P1.
Logically, I think it's probably best for Mr. Brisbane to come into the pit lane now. It's early, but he should be able to cut in front of Mr. Sergio Azario and try and avoid the battle between him and Nick the Stick.
So
if he pits now, he'll have a massive gap to clean air.
Ami is the first driver to dive into the pits, so he'll be the first one out on the freshest tyres. Brizzle doesn't pit. And he's going. Nick the Stick is gonna try and make the move through turn 1. Brizzle gets a little bit squirrely on the exit, but still manages to retain P14. Rock Cops and Alex Zakdel are in close proximity. So Amir is our first driver to pit. We've also got Dries Veerhurst in the pits as well. Christian Wiegel is repairing his damage, and as we saw earlier, Demokish Kish is currently been in the pits for almost 1,000 seconds. Was that?
Okay, he's closing on Mattia Nadira.
He is, and also there's a driver falling down the grid. Terence, I can't quite get him. Where is he? I saw Terence has just dropped like a stone. Where is he? Where's Terence gone? I think Terence has had the dreaded connection thing.
Yes, he has. Unfortunately, again.
That boy does not get any luck at all.
Alan Briscoe under pressure yet again from Nick the Stick. Is he going to make the move into the pit lane now? No, he won't. Neither will Nick the Stick, as Nick the Stick slightly wider, nearly puts himself out of the race.
Yeah, he got quite close through turn 1 last time, but this time looks a little bit further back. Sergio has now been promoted into P14, P11 as he continues to go around the track.
But the gap from Mr. Brizzle to Bertoncello is slightly closing. It's now only 6.5 seconds.
And Nick the Stick is all over the back of the Aston Martin. Still not close enough to make the move. Donington's not the easiest track to make the pass on. Ewig and Mark GG are quite close together in 16th and 17th position respectively.
Katie is closing onto the back of Mr. Mattia Najira.
Yeah, that's gone down to 1.2. That's gone down to 1.2 seconds. Keddy was 0.4 of a second faster last time around. Goodway is the first of our front runners to dive into the pits. He's currently in P8. So Brizzle, I don't think he was actually flashing. I think that's just lights twinkling that's giving the effect of flashing. But
it depends on how much damage there is, because if there's damage and you brake, it does flash.
Yes. So Nick the Stick has gone into the pits.
So Nick the Stick should come out sort of around, who's number 80? Mr. Christopher Gedman.
Yeah, so Mr. Gedman just going through the second to last corner at the moment. We've got Nick the Stick Goodway in the pits. Our fastest stop so far is Boggio, which was a 28.9. So
the Stick is not down yet. He will be dropped any minute now, any second now. I was wrong, it's not going to be there. He's going to be further back. He's going to be lapped if the leader doesn't pit now.
So we've still got 15 minutes of the pit window, so it's still...
That pit stop is around, what, a minute?
Yeah, just under a minute. So Nick the Stick did a 57.8, which is our fastest pit stop so far. His team, so Oliver Ewig is right on the back of Mark GG in P14 at the moment, so 0.4 of a second is the gap between those two drivers. James Perry is just gone. So Keddy's also pitted, or Keddy is pitting from P3. He's going to try and get the undercut on Mattia Nachira potentially.
Yeah, it would probably be best, as Weigel has been given a stop and go 30.
Why would you have got a stop and go 30? Speed in the pit lane? Yeah, so it's not a...
It's all over the back of Sergio Azario yet again. Sergio Azario is doing 130s, Alan Brizzle's doing 29s.
Yeah, so I think Sergio might have had a little bit of an issue.
They're both damaging the front end, so... That would
Azario's twitchy off the track and has allowed Brizzle to go through. So Porsche doing Porsche things and has allowed the Aston Martin to go through, which will be music to Alan Brown's ears, because now he has the opportunity to stretch his legs. So Keddy comes out all the way back in P17. He's 1.5 seconds behind Amin Kasarstanovic in P16.
Alex Dale's into the pit lane now.
So this is the only problem, or the problematic thing about doing undercuts, is where you come out in relation to traffic. So Melker Garby's just gone send mode on Sven Corving. Sven Corving's going to try and return the favour on the exit, but Melker's managed to get away. So we've got Nachira in the pits, Zakdal in the pits, Bertoncello in the pits. So worth keeping an eye on Mattia and Marco, where they come out. So
he's into the pit lane, so he's going to have a bit of clean air.
Yeah, so Keddy's caught in a bit of traffic with Kasarstanovic in front, and he's trying to get past. I'm not sure where Mr. Nachira is at the moment. Is he?
Number 966, Coderman's off track.
So 966, so Nachira's come out of the pits. Keddy has the inside line on him as they go through turn 1. Will be inside again for the next corner, but I think Nachira's managed to get out. But that 1.5 seconds was absolutely obliterated by the undercut. Even with the traffic, which of Kasarstanovic in front, maybe if Kelly got past, or didn't have, Kasper Asanovic in the way.
Bodeman is out. He has not moved for the last 15 seconds. But Mattia
Yeah.
is looking in that rearview mirror, watching where that BMW is going to go. Is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? Or is he going to stick it behind?
He's just very close, as you can see. Nichira's trying to get his tyres warmed up as they head down in towards the chicane. Is Keddy going to put the car in an awkward position? No, he's not. Just goes for the momentum. James Perry's in the pits. Treboskic is in the pits. So Rox Cops takes over the lead.
As Matthew's taking the inside line, Katie trying to get the better exit. Can he do that into the final corner? Doesn't seem like it from my camera view, but and I was correct. It doesn't seem like it was going to happen.
No, absolutely not.
Katie's going to try and get a better exit and try and make the move into turn 1.
So Ewig and Mark GG are very close, as we still have yet to pick Kops, Krishnaider, Brown, Garby, GG, Ewig. Kasper Asanovic is yet to pit.
Oh! So Sergio Azario had that slight mistake, and it's put it, even though with that mistake, it still kept him ahead of this Nick the Stick. So if Mr. Alan B. Brizzle
Should come out ahead of Nick Stick and Ozario.
By a margin as well. Nick the Stick, he lost about 4 seconds, and it's 5 seconds. No, it's half a second between him and Nick the Stick. So Nick the Stick had a bad pit stop.
So yeah, I'll have a look at the pit stop times now, but Nick the Stick's pit stop was a 57.8. Sergio Azario's was a 56.5. So 1.3 seconds difference. It's not.
AD looking to the outside line. Can he make the move?
No, I don't think so. Not on this occasion. Maybe he's trying to set up a good run into the last corner. They do have. Who is in front of them? Who is in front of them? Mark GG is the McLaren, the white McLaren. You've got Krishnaider, Brown, Kops, Gardby have all gone into the pits. So James Perry retakes the lead. We're halfway through the race.
A young man once told me, faster!
He's trying. He's probably sat there going faster to the BMW as he puts full throttle down. 0.4 of a second between Nichira and Keddy. Keddy is desperate to get into P2. I think P1's out of Stretch. Ewig, who hasn't stopped, currently in P2. Derek Brewer, Gedman, both haven't stopped in 9th and 10th. Then we got.
I was just going to say, they're both sitting in 9th and 10th. First time we've seen that.
Yes. Yes, so who's this in front of them? This is.
Oliver Ewig is just letting past Matty.
He's not letting him past. He's not letting him past at all. He tried to make the move on, and we saw last night, or Tuesday night, when Blanchett tried to do it, to lap a car into that chicane, and it just doesn't work. I can understand Mattia's desperation to try and make the move, because he was trying to get away from Marco, but yeah, so Ewig, to add insult to injury, dives into the pits, which has just allowed Marco to jump into P2, but that's a bit of pain for Mattia Nichira. He
has jumped ahead of Sergio Azario as well.
Yes, so Brizzle's in P16. Yet to
a car off of Bertoncello. Could Alan Brizzle get into the lead of the race?
So Bertoncello's just getting going now. So we're just on board with Alan. He's got so they're very close back together again. So it's only it says he's
Darby coming through as well.
1.7, 1.6 seconds difference between them. So yeah, Melker. How is Melker doing? Where is he?
Garby is on the back of Sergio Azario.
Yeah,
so he's on piece of the team. He's 1 second away from Sergio Azario to go
So,
into what would be net P7 of the no, higher than that. Net P10.
so David Goodway's under pressure from Trevosek as well. James Perry sets a new fastest lap of the race with a 26.385. So Mr. Phlox has turned cheerleader. Go Barry Gibbons. Barry Gibbons currently is in... Where is Barry?
Barry Gibbons, he is just in front of Bertoncello, as Alan Brizzle is all over the back of Bertoncello. And Bertoncello looking down the inside of Barry Gibbons. Barry Gibbons goes deep. Alan Brizzle goes down the inside of Barry Gibbons, and he is trying to get that move into the lead of the race.
Yes.
Can Alan Brizzle take the win at Donington Park?
Well, last time I saw him at Donington Park, he was in a tiny tent. So Derek Derek goes into the pit. So does Barry Gibbons. So that's interesting to see how Gedman and Bruh come out of the pits together. Bertoncello runs quite a little bit wide. I'm not sure if Christian has any damage. Nothing obvious from.
Definitely does, because Alan Brizzle goes so much up onto the back of him, going down that Fogarty S's. Can he close up coming through one of my favourite parts of the circuit? Don't know what it is. It's just so flowing.
It's also a great place to watch the action as well by here.
Oh yeah,
because you get to see so much of the track as they go into the double right hand. You've got Sergio Azario just behind. So Brizzle's stop was a 61.4, which is 5 seconds slower than Bertoncello. But Bertoncello having that go slow moment has really cost him.
yeah, definitely. I mean, okay, you're saying this is a great place to watch, and I was very young. I can't remember where I actually watched, but I went to the MotoGP here in 2008, and we literally just went for the day. My dad drove us up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, got to Donington Park, we went and watched the MotoGP, and all I can remember from that day is sitting on a bike with 2 babes standing right next to me.
Well, that's not a bad day.
No, it's not. I've got a photo somewhere.
David Goodway is under pressure from Simon Trevosek. Yeah, I thought that was going to be contact, but they're going to run. David did give him enough room as they run up towards the chicane. We've seen issues already here tonight with Machi and Nachira. Trevosek decides not to make the move into the braking zone, powering out. James Perry goes faster again with a 26.312. The fastest man on track by 0.5 of a second at the minute. He's 12.6 seconds ahead. Be interesting to see if him and Mr. Nopek get on the track at any time soon together, because that'll be an interesting fight. Trevosek is looking left, looking right for a chink in Dave Goodway's armour. Nothing appears currently as they head down into turn 1. This is our closest fight. How is Brizzle's a second now behind Bertoncello, so that one hasn't yet fully developed back into another fight, unless Bertoncello's just cooled his tyre temperature pressures down and is able to go back on the hunt again.
Chris Gedman stays out and he has a slow lap, he could cause an issue for Bertoncello, and Mr. Alan Brizzle could close in on Bertoncello and take that lead.
So Trevosek going into the braking zone gains so much more minimum apex speed as he continues to crawl all over the back of the Aston Martin, heading once again down towards the chicane, or the Fogarty S's, into the braking zone. There is Audi in front of them. I think that may be a back marker. The only driver I can see to have not pitted is Mr. Gedman. I'm not sure further down the back of the field as they head into the hairpin once again. David Goodway goes on the defensive. The lapped car sensibly, well, no, it's not really. It's Barry, I think it is. Yes, he does indeed allow Trevosek and Goodway to go through nice and cleanly as they head into the final corner. 3/10 of a second. Christopher Gedman has allowed Burton Sello through, but hasn't allowed Alan Brown or Mr. Gardby through. So they're continuing to go. So Gedman has now, I can just see on your screen, allowed Brizzle and Gardby through, but I'm sure in the chat Brizzle might be getting emotional in there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Oh,
you can see that Mr. Bridge is battling for the lead, and Gedman just let through.
he's gone into the pits now as well.
Let through Burton Sello at the wrong point to assist Briz catching up to Burton Sello. So it's cost him some time. But Alan Brown has been looking very, 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 very hot in the last few laps. So he could close in.
So Sergio Azario is getting a little bit frustrated as well behind Nick Stick. He was just given some flashing lights as James Perry goes quicker again. 26.0.
Can he beat his qualifying lap time?
That's just nuts. I know the Porsche runs will help.
I've done that. I do it a lot on LFM.
I do it a lot anyway because I just don't practice enough. So by the end of the race, I'm lapping the fastest I've lapped all day. But
it's the same thing for me.
We still got 20 minutes left of the race. So Gardby is now all over the back of Alan Brown. Remember, Gardby is a pro driver. Christian Burton Sello is just in front as well. But Gardby will want to get into the top 10 just for pride more than anything. He always has the pace, Melker, to be up there. Just sometimes has a little bit of indifferent races, and his qualifying today definitely hasn't helped him. His tour across the grass has not helped him. He was very fortunate not to hit the wall, but they go round for another lap again. Trabosek is back, is going past, is lapping Christopher Gedman, who's towards the back of the grid. But Trabosek is chasing David Goodway. As you can see, the Aston Martin in front as they head towards the Fogarty S's once again. FRLACC straight is on your left hand side. Pit window is closed. There's the FRL. This is the FRL straight. David Goodway runs onto the dirt. Is the move going to be made by Simon? No, it's not. David Goodway drives on the offensive. It's gone deeper, which has allowed Trabosek to come through, and that is an easy pass in the end. After being held up for so long, Trabosek moves up to 6th. David Goodway drops down to 7th position. Keddy is now 4.4 seconds ahead of Nachira, but 15 seconds behind Keddy. So Marjan 966, damn wheel disconnected here. Oh no! I assume that is Mr. Coderman, who we saw parked in the corner earlier on. Mate, that is absolute pain personified. Brizzle and Melker Gardby fighting down the start-finish straight. Is Melker Gardby going to try and send it down on the inside into turn 1? No, he doesn't trust it. Brizzle runs a little bit wider. Melker Gardby then does stick up his nose in there. Brizzle runs wide. Gardby passes. Potentially, Brizzle could be playing percentages here. And what I mean by that is maybe he's thinking, if I let him pass without losing too much time, as Derek Bruz running quite slowly on the exit, if I let him pass without losing too much time, and he and Burton Sello fight, is there an opportunity for me to get past?
We've missed something.
Probably.
Brizzle's ahead of Burton Sello.
Oh!
I was looking at my phone for 5 seconds and I come back and Burton Sello's lost the position. What has happened? What has happened in the race?
I don't know. Absolutely no idea.
So Mark Garby was let through by Alan Brizzle, running slightly wide, and then coming down the hill.
But Burton Sello is also under pressure from Nick the Stick.
Burton Sello went really wide at the bottom of Foggy S's. and they just allowed them to go straight past them.
And there he does. He comes back onto the track. So yeah, a mistake from Mr. Bertoncello. Sergio Azario has been passed by Nick the Stick. Sergio Azario goes back past Nick the Stick, back into P14. Not sure if there was any contact between them. Not sure what's happening with Sven Corving behind, because it's saying he has 1,200 seconds to catch Nick the Stick, which I don't think is correct. Nick the Stick is probably about half a sector ahead, but Brizzle and Garby are still going at it. Brizzle wants to now get back past Malka, as we see Bertoncello behind. He has a about a 4-second gap to Nick the Stick. Nick the Stick is fighting with Sergio Azario as they head up down towards the chicane. Rock Cops, meanwhile, is right on the back of Alex Zakdal as we go down towards the floor. So last time around, half a tenth of a second between Rock Cops and Alex Zakdal.
I mean, just watching Alan Brizzle for the last 2 laps.
Rock Cops goes wide and is lost a bit of time on Alex.
Azario is all over the back of Nick the Stick as well. But just watching the back of the last 2 laps of Alan Brown, he is trying to get back past Mark Garvey, which is unusual for Melka. Melka's very, very fast driver, and he shouldn't be where he is.
No, but interestingly, it's 3 seconds separate Varzi in P10 and Garby in P11. Last time around, Melka Garby was 0.8 of a second faster than Varzi in car number 99.
But we'll have a quick joke here. So I get a text message from Mr. Brizzle earlier, asking me if I've signed up for the Silverstone, the Brands Hatch 4 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Which I haven't. As Nick the Stick is all under pressure from Sergio Azario.
We're looking at it now, so less than a tenth of a second separate them as they head towards the Fogarty S's, down in towards Melbourne, I think it is.
It is Melbourne.
It is Melbourne, yeah. There's a little village called Melbourne, which is at the opposite end. It's not named after the place in Australia.
But yeah, I was saying, Brizzle messaged me that he asked me if I've signed up for the 4 hours at Brands Hatch yet. And I said no. And he went, cool mate, back in the Astons tonight. Can get more points. Bet I can get more points in the last 2 rounds than I got for the whole season. Which he's proven that he's leading the AMs and he is showing that he is improving. And he could get more points in the last 2 races than he has all season long.
So, in fairness to Brizzle, before he came across to PC, he won basically everything on PS4.
No.
Sergio outbroke himself, locked up his brakes, I'm not sure, but went extremely deep, and now Nick the Stick has disappeared. Rock Cops is still 1.2, 1.5 seconds behind Alex Zakdal, so that one's not closing. Brizzle is 1.2 seconds behind Melka now as he goes past a gold Ferrari. Let's have a look further back, see if we've got any fun. So Christopher Gedman has lost a position to Barry Gibbons. He's repaired all his damage. So Barry's stop was a 58 seconds. Gedman was a 58.6. So I don't think there was any major damage on either of the car. But now Barry Gibbons is going to be 9.6 seconds behind Edgardo Donoso, who's 1.2 seconds behind Ryan Blanchett. So we've got 28 runners and riders still going round. So we've got Christian in 28, Baggio in 27th, Gedman 26th, Gibbons 25th, Edgardo in 24th, Blanchett in 23rd, Verhurst has gone off the track in 21st, but is now back up and running. He's not having his cleanest night tonight. Mark GG in 20th, Kasarasanovic in 19th, then we got Tudor in 18th, Ewig in 17th, Gorming in 16th, Sergio Azario just had that off a few moments ago in 15th. Then we got Nick the Stick in P3 in the AMS with Bertoncello a second. Bertoncello in 13th. Then Brown. Then Mr. Garby in 11th. Our top 10 at the moment is Varzi, Amir, Chris Snyder, who's having another good race, just going past, lapping, I think that is Barry Gibbons, it is. David Goodway having a good night in P7, Trabozek in 6th, Cops now a second behind Alex Zakdal in 5th, Zakdal in 4th, Nachira in 3rd after that interesting incident with Ewig, and then we got Marco Keddy, 19 seconds behind this man, Mr. James Perry, whose utter dominance. He is lapping. His fastest lap is 6/10 of a second faster than anyone else. As Rock Cops is now right on the rear of Alex Zakdal.
Alan Brown is pulling away as Milka Garby's off.
What?
Honda's done Honda things yet again. It was perfectly fine and he's just binned it.
Oh no, Melka Garby. Oh, pain.
Just flicking through to Alan Brown and I just see a blue and orange Nissan off on the side of the track where he went off at the start of the race. It is not going well for Melka Garby. And he is going to draw massive in the standings.
Well, he's lost. In all honesty, he hasn't lost any positions in terms of the pro. He's still 11th in the pros, so he hasn't lost that much. The only thing he has lost is Nick the Stick is now going to be interested in P14 behind him. Bertoncello is now 1.8 seconds, but Fresh Brizzle, in his return to the Aston Martin, is doing rather well.
He was slightly slower that lap, and it has let Bertoncello close up. And I'm just worrying about if Bertoncello is going to catch him or not. We got 9 minutes 50 seconds remaining, and if Brizzle keeps his foot on the throttle and the right places of the track, he should come out with a P1 in the AMS, which would be fantastic for him, and he will be over the moon.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid jumping into that chat after this race, if I'm honest.
And it will be a great result for the Eclipse Racing Esports team.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously losing Terence Keenan, who's probably in for a top four. Zakdal is currently in P4, so he's doing quite well.
Terence Keenan's probably still driving around.
Hmm?
Terence Keenan's probably still driving around.
Right there. Somehow, Trabosek is behind David Goodway once again. So we saw these two pass when David Goodway went deep into the hairpin. Trabosek now has some damage on the front of his Ferrari, but he's closing back in again on David Goodway. But somehow these two drivers have changed positions.
As I speak, Alan Brizzle put in a better lap time. He was only 1/10 slower than Bertoncello in that last lap. So if he can do that for the next 8 minutes, he will be the Donington race winner for the AMS.
That'll be a great result, but we've got so much happening in 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th between Cops, Zakdal and Goodway and Trabosek. Cops, Edo Cops is obviously unfortunately DNF'd tonight, but Rock Cops is trying to get into 4th position ahead of the Honda, in head of the Aston Martin. So the Aston Martin's very stable in Alex's hands. He doesn't have a second race tonight, which is what his weakness has been in the sprints. So he doesn't have to worry about that, but he does have 7.5 minutes to keep the car on the black stuff and keep the black and white car behind. Sorry, I thought I heard my wife delivering me tea. Obviously, she's not going to tonight. I bought her a KFC. You would expect some sort of feeding.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Feeding? You want a drink, not food.
Yeah, no more feedings.
Other than some rich tea biscuits.
Well, I've got the prospect of a 3 o'clock in the morning working if what the fix I've been told just before comms started is actually works. If it works, then I'm going to be loading general ledger transactions in until the early hours of the morning, which I'm sure is an exciting proposition for anyone. So 7 minutes left until I have to worry about that. He says, I was hoping to catch up on some racing tonight after this, but not to be. So Rock Cops is now 7/10 of a second. Alan Brown is up into P10, up into P9, and he's just skipped the chicane. Please tell me that's not a drive-through. Ryan? We've lost Ryan momentarily, but Amir's in P11. He's Varzy's just managed to get back into P9, so Brizzle's in a pro sandwich at the moment, which is very dangerous. So Brizzle needs to try and get past Varzy. Krishnider's comfortably in P8 all by himself. Trabosek and Goodway are going at it, but this is the fight for the AM win. With Burton Sallow not too far behind, staying interested in case something happens between Amir, Brown and Varzy. Varzy in P9 at the moment. Last time around, Varzy did a 30.2, Brown 29.5. Amir had a massive issue as Trabosek has again gone off the track. I'm not sure where Mr. Goodway is. Mr. Goodway is still on the black stuff with Derek in front. Not sure if Derek got involved as a lapped car, but David Goodway is comfortably in P6 now. So let's have a look at Varzy, Brown and Amir as they're still going through. So Goodway is now 1.8 seconds in the lead ahead of Trabosek. James Perry is 21 seconds ahead of second place. Brown going through the second to last corner behind the McLaren of Varzy. Not sure what's happened to Ryan, if he's still alive or not.
I'm still alive. I went for a smoke.
Right, okay.
Quick smoke.
4 minutes left. Brown is in a pro sandwich at the moment. So Varzy in P9 overall is just ahead. Goodway and Trabosek encountered some issues potentially when going through some lap cars. Varzy is just staying ahead.
3 minutes ahead, 3 minutes to go. That gap has not dropped massively. It's still the same gap between Alan Brown and Brizzle.
Alan Brown and Brizzle. Nick the Stick's got a yellow flag. I'm not sure what's happened, but he's still on the track in P14. Melka Garby is in P13 by himself. Let's have a look. Amir is now all over the back
Of Alan Brown.
Yeah, sorry, just looking at his livery, and it just looked bizarre to me, but it just looks completely different from the front and the side.
Out of the way for Alan Brown and
Amir, and by the looks of things, Burton Sallow as well. So that was good driving from Barry, allowing the faster cars to go past at the hairpin. Burton Sallow is now all over the back of Amir. Amir's had that poor lap a few laps ago. We did a 136, so I assume that was a potential off. So, wait, you've 2 or 3 laps to go, potentially.
2.
One. I think it's 3.
No, it's 2. James Perry crossed the line with 2 minutes and 42 seconds to go.
So this lap, next lap, and the one after. 3.
This lap and next lap.
No, because once he's done this lap, there'll still be a minute,
1 minute,
but it will be 40 seconds left. So Bertoncello is crawling all over the back of the Ferrari of Amir. Brizzle is there as well. Amir allows. Oh no, Amir! No, Amir caught the curb and went off, and that's allowed Melka Garby to come through. James Perry comes through to lap him as well. And Nick the Stick's going to catch him down the straight. Amir moves off the moves over to the side and is now back up to speed. So he's managed to get that move done. So Bertoncello and Alan Brown going through the second to last corner side by side on the exit. Is there going to be a move done by Christian Bertoncello on the Aston Martin? No, it's not. The Aston Martin managed to get enough run. David Goodway's in the pits, so I assume that was a drive-through, but as Bertoncello gets squirrely on the exit, he's safe, he's okay, he's alive. David Goodway, did he go into the pit for a drive-through?
Leader is in the final lap.
Yes,
so
indeed.
2 laps to go for Alan Brown and Bertoncello, but for the leader it is 1 lap to go.
And to be honest, there's not been much doubt since about 4 laps in. Perry just basically had to continue to go.
Bertoncello's making a little bit of mistakes here and there. It could cost him at the end of this race.
I think, he just needs to keep the car on the black stuff now, and finish.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he did go slightly deep at this corner he is entering now. It could hinder him quite severely if he doesn't get this correct, which he doesn't make a mistake there. But can Alan Brown keep him up at bay for 1 more lap and take his first win?
No, he's had a couple of wins in the rookies originally, and in the Amspit, but Christian Bertoncello's had a better run through the chicane. Alan Brown goes on the defensive line, taking up the inside. Bertoncello runs deep. Brizzle goes a bit slower through the exit. They look as though they're side by side again as they come in towards the final hairpin. They will have 1 more lap to fight it out. And there's contact made. There's contact made between Bertoncello, and in fairness, Bertoncello doesn't try and just nudge him off and keep going, but he's put the throttle down as they head down to start, finish straight down into turn 1. James Perry has won the race, but we're going to stay with this fight and see how it develops. Bertoncello has a tighter line going through turn 1 as they head down the hill. Brizzle has.
Garby get involved.
Melka Garby is definitely looking like to be involved, so Perry has won. It looks as though Marco Keddy is going to claim 2nd place. Nachira in P3, Zakdel 4. Cops is very close to Zakdel in P5.
The Hondas went deep there, coming out of Fogarty S's, and it has given Alan Brown a 2nd gap to Bertoncello. Can he keep it together for this final sector and take a win at Donington Park, the home of FRL Racing?
Trabosek claims P6 after David Goodway gets his drive through. Daniel Krishnider in P7. Yes, it is. It will be Krishnider in P7. It's I assume it's a lapped car that's in front of him. Then we've got David Goodway after his last-minute drive-through in P8 as he goes through the final corner. Varzi looks to get P9. Brown in P10 and P1 for the AMS as he heads towards the final corner. We've got Christian Bertoncello right behind. It does look as though
donuts down the home straight and into the pit lane backwards.
Nice. So Bertoncello crosses the line in P2 in the AMS, but that was a very, very exciting end to the race.
It's being saved.
Wow. We'll have a quick catch up on those results in a second. I'm just going to gather my thoughts, but James Perry, apologies we didn't catch you crossing the line, but you get P1 for the pros with an absolute utter dominance of a win. Marco Keddy in P2, then we got Mattia Nachira in P3, Alex Zakdel in P4. Sorry, just there we go. Let's get rid of that horrible bit. Alex Zachtel for Rock Cops, 5/10 behind in P5. Then we got Trabosek, Chris Schneider, David Goodway, Uwe Vase. Our winner for the AMS tonight is Alan Brown, 0.8 of a second ahead of Christian Bertoncello. Melka Garby in P12, Amir in 13, Nick the Stick in 14th, P3 in the AMS, Sergio Azario in 15th, Sven Corving in 16th, Oliver Ewig 17th, Tudor in 18th, Amin Kasrasanovic in 19th, Mark GG in 20th, Dries Verhurst in 21st, Derek Brewer in 22nd, Edgardo in 23rd, Blanchett with his interesting trip into the wall in 24th, Gibbons in 25, Christopher Gedman in 26th, Giorgio Gibiggio in 27th, and Christian Weigel in 28th. Domokos Kish, respect to the man who stayed in and watched all the action from the pits. But yeah, that was an interesting evening.
Definitely was. I mean, that final battle between Alan Brown and Bertoncello made that race so much more intense. Of Alan Brown coming from P3, getting past Nick the Stick and taking the win from Bertoncello. Bertoncello with that slight tap onto the final lap. And it looked to be all over for Alan Brown, but Bertoncello giving him the time to catch back up, letting the battle continue for the final lap. So it was a fantastic race to watch and commentate on.
Absolutely. Donington Park never disappoints. We are back again on Tuesday for the Super Sprints at Watkins Glen. My favourite section of corners, which is defined as the boot, which has the heel, the toe, the laces, which I'll enjoy remembering actually some corner names for the Super Sprints, or Timson Super Sprints. Then we got the rookies on Thursday. PureSimGear GT3 Friday on Friday again returns. And then we are, I think, I think, is it? No, it's not. It's Monza the week after. So as soon as our season's finished, we then decide to do a 6-hour event at Monza. Thank you very much, Ryan, again for joining me this evening. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I appreciated your company as always.
It was very, very, very enjoyable. Other than doing nothing for the rest of the night, so it was good to be here.
I'm going to do some work. So thank you all for joining us. Congratulations to James Perry and Alan Brown for their respective wins in the Pros and Am section. I've been the Pink Pig. You've been Ryan. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.